Raila is a very simple person. He's a Kenyan, and professionally he's an engineer. And he's got a family with 4 children and several grandchildren. And got my siblings, my sisters and my brothers, yeah. So I come from a big family, yes. So that's what I am, and I'm also a businessman.
As a father and a grandfather, looking back to your political journey, do you have any regrets? Is there something you regret, something you'd have done differently?
Not really. I have no regrets with what we've done. We have walked a journey which is straight, but it has been full of challenges as we walked, and the situation in our country at that time demanded that people should make sacrifices to bring a change in our country. And that's why I associated with the forces that wanted to bring change in the country. Of course, it has cost me heavily, but I don't regret. I think that Kenya is much better today because of the sacrifices that were made by those patriotic Kenyans.
When you say it cost you heavily, what do you mean?
Yeah, I'm saying that my family suffered a lot when I was in detention. You see, my kids were dismissed from school, and then my wife could not get them school. Many schools did not want to admit them. And then my wife was also sacked from her job, actually twice from a job. First she was a teacher, and she was sacked, reinstated but taken to the ministry headquarters. Then later on she was finally sacked completely. It brought our children with difficulties, but I'm glad that our children got good education and that they are useful to the society today. Yeah.
Was there any given point where Mama Ida came to you and told you maybe the fight is not worth it? Did she feel like giving up at some point?
No. Ida is a very strong person. She has stood by me through the thick and thin. And she has actually made a lot of sacrifices on her own to ensure that the children got education and keep the family together. If you remember that my second son, Junior, Raila Jr., saw me for the first time when he was 9 years old. That's when he could see that this is a father. Because I'd left when he was too young, so he didn't recognize me. And then our daughter, of course, could recognize me, but very faintly. The only one who knew me well was Fidel. Then they moved when she was sacked from teaching Kenya High School. She was given 4 hours to leave the school compound, and she did not have anywhere to go to. So she had to now remove the furniture and everything, and it was raining. She had to go and camp somewhere in the rain until she eventually managed to get a shelter. where she moved with the children. So she is a strong person, as I've said. She has not regretted and she has not complained about me at all. She's been a good supporter of the struggle. Mm.
Former Prime Minister, you have run for office 5 times. This is the 5th time you're trying now. Has there been any complaints from any of them saying you're never really around as a father and as a grandfather? How has that impacted your family?
I must say that I'm very lucky. My family has been very supportive. My children, my wife, my brothers and sisters, my mothers, and my general, the larger family have been very, very supportive of what I'm doing. So I've not had any serious problems within the family. Yeah.
And now, when we look at the attempts that you've made at the presidency, should things not go according to plan next year, will you accept defeat?
That goes without questioning. As a Democrat, you must accept to win or lose. You see, losing is part of the game. So if you lose fairly in a contest, you have to accept. I am a sportsman. I used to be a soccer player, and I've played in the league. So I know that if you lose, you concede. Asiyekubali kushindwa sio mshindani. Yeah, so nobody should have any worries about that.
And you're 76 now, so there are those who say that you will only, if you win in 2022, you'll be a one-term president.
Fine. So what?
Will you be a one-term president?
Why not? Why not? Put that question to Mr. Biden. He's 1 year older than me. Okay? Mm.
So you will not run again?
I'm saying why not?
Prime Minister, you haven't given me a definite answer. Will you run or will you not run again?
Oh, I think I've answered you. I don't know where you're going.
Okay. Looking back at your political life, is there anything you'd have done differently?
I don't regret what I've done. Because, you didn't even have to really plan. You are reacting to the situation which was created by circumstances beyond your control. And either you were submissive and let things go the way they were, or you say, no, enough is enough, we must change the direction of things. The risk, of course, was always there. The risk was always there, and you have to take a risk to bring about a change. People have to volunteer to come out, and a number of people suffered seriously in the course of this struggle for change. We lost lives. People who were tortured in the torture chambers. Some people were thrown from Nyayo House from 23rd floor down on the street. So it has been a bloody struggle, and but I really want to appreciate the Kenyan spirit, the strong Kenyan spirit of resistance. that fought colonialism, brought independence, then again resisted the post-independence dictatorship, and eventually came up with a new constitution. So I think that we are grateful. We are grateful, we are not regretful.
Okay. As you consider a running mate position, and I know you've said several times that this is something you're still thinking through and this is not the time to announce it, are you considering a female running mate?
Yes, I was saying that the time is going to come when you're going to address the issue of the running mate. I think it is premature right now to talk about a running mate. We still have got 7 months, and we will discuss with our other colleagues and identify a suitable person as the running mate. The time will come for us to address that issue.
Are you sure that the president will endorse you? Do you want his endorsement?
I said I don't want his endorsement. I only want his vote. He doesn't have to endorse me. And I'm not a project. I don't want to be seen as a project. I want to run as Raila Odinga the way I've run. And, but if the president offers me his vote, I will be extremely grateful.
So what is your vision for Kenya looking into the future in 2022?
I think that, Kenya has a great potential to really move to the next stage. And, you can look at these different presidencies. We had a first president, Mr. Jomo Kenyatta, who was an anthropologist. He gave us independence and started the process of Kenyanization of the economy. Then the second president was a teacher. So he kept us in the primary school, and of course he laid a lot of emphasis on education. You can see the Nyayo milk program and so on. Now the third president was an economist, and the economist Kibaki really gave us Vision 2030 and try to rally the people and the economy. And the economy revived and was growing at a fairly fast rate. Then now we have a fourth president who is a political economist. Yeah. And this moved the country to the point of takeoff. If you look at the infrastructural development that it has done in the country, it is big, really. So it's moved the country to the point of takeoff. Yeah. Now at this point now, you need an engineer, to engineer the country from where it is to take off, you see, so that Kenya can really leapfrog and catch up with the countries that were at the same state of development like Kenya in 1963. I think that I can do it. I have the ability, I have the vision, I have the clarity of mind, and it's not just me, it's going to be a teamwork. And I think that I can be able to identify talents in different fields and make good use of them so that our country can take off. We have got resources, both human and natural resources in the country. We can create an enabling environment for investors to come to our country. We can also be able to empower our population, particularly the youth, because, as you know, we are a fairly young nation. 70% of our population below the age of 35. That can actually be a blessing or a curse. It can be a blessing if you make use of that manpower for wealth creation. And we can actually give them proper skills, train them, so that they can be able to create wealth, and empower them to start on their own. You know, these micro, small, and medium enterprises are the major employers in our country. You just need to formalize it, what we call the informal sector, okay? And people will be able to earn a living more decently there. And then we also need to really upscale this affordable housing scheme. Affordable housing scheme is very important in empowering our people and moving them socially to a middle income status. And that's why we are going to revisit that bill, which was thrown out by Parliament, where somebody produces 2.5% and the employer 2.5%. We can get a pool of resources to be able to run this scheme properly. Then healthcare. I'm talking about universal healthcare. And that again we will roll out properly. Okay? So I have a clear vision what we want to do, and when on the 10th of this month, I mentioned some of them, the 10-point agenda. But we are now preparing our manifesto, which is going to be more specific as to what we intend to do when we take over.